So, hey everybody, this was supposed to be video like 13, and it's all about darning socks, but I accidentally clicked off and didn't save my video before I posted it and shared it. So I thought I would just do a really fast video on darning socks. So just to remind you, my name is Kelly Slack. I was invited to guest teach in the WAFA Wool and Fiber Arts group by Heather of Pearly Shell Fiber Arts. I'm the co-owner of Black Sheep Fiber Emporium with my partner Tina. I have 2 master's degrees in teaching, so I absolutely love to teach. I have written 2 self-published books, Froth and Foam and Hoppy Feet. And I really love socks. I've made over 100 pairs of socks, so while I don't know everything, I do know a lot about socks. And don't forget that these videos are sponsored by Black Sheep Fiber Emporium, Kelly Slack Designs, and Pearly Shell Fiber Arts. And you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. I have some really good in-depth videos on my Kelly Slack Designs YouTube channel, as well as that blacksheepfiberemporium.com webpage in our help section. I think they're also linked off of my kellyslackdesigns.com page that you can find that are very in-depth tutorials on how to darn your socks. And I go through not only the duplicate stitch, this is the duplicate stitch, where you are stitching over a sock that hasn't quite become a holey sock yet. It's one that has very thin yarn. So you can see this one has a really thin area right here, and I've started duplicate stitching this, so I just have to finish it. But there's a video on how to follow along and duplicate stitch over it. But the essential thing is identify where your hole is, go a couple of columns to each side and a couple of rows above and below, and start duplicate stitching your way up over that hole so that it doesn't really turn into a hole. It's just a thin spot. So that's one way to darn your socks. The other way to darn your socks is with a woven patch. So this one happens to have a woven patch. This one also has a woven patch. It's in the heel. So right here, this woven patch. And to do that, you have to build a frame. So on this sock, I've started building the frame, where you go around the top, the bottom, and both sides. And on the sides, I go every other row and pick up a thread. And on the top and the bottom, I do every other leg on my, let's see if I can get it to focus. There we go. On every other leg of the knit stitch, so that I have a base around which to make my warp, which are the up and down, and my weft, which are the back and forth rows. So I've already gone ahead and made the warp on this one. I've started the weft, and I'll keep filling it in, going up and down and side to side until I have a really solid patch, just like this one. And again, I have much more in-depth videos available at blacksheepfiberemporium.com, and also on my Kelly Slack Designs YouTube channel, where you can watch how to darn, and they're slow, and you can watch them over and over again, and I go very in-depth on what to do, what not to do, what tools to use. You do need to have some kind of darning egg or a light bulb or a potato or something to hold on to inside your sock, so that it just gently stretches the knitting over it so that you can fill in that hole. You also need some scissors. You need a blunt-ended tapestry needle, like this guy, blunt-ended tapestry needle. And you also need some kind of yarn. It can match, but it doesn't have to. That's totally up to you. So those are the basics, and I just reminded everybody that I will be back tomorrow and Friday. Tomorrow I'm going to talk about the care and washing of socks for part 14 of the video series. And then the final video is all about socks in other ways. So it's making socks not toe up or top down as we think about it in the round, but flat socks and socks that are made from the heel up or the side out. And so we're going to talk about socks in other ways. So I hope that you've been enjoying this series, and I'm so sorry that I forgot to save that 15-minute video. But really, your best bet is to go watch my series of videos on how to darn, where I go very in-depth and very slowly explain the duplicate stitch and the woven patch. And the other option for fixing a hole in knitting is actually knitting a patch and then sewing that patch on. And that's great for holes in sweaters, but it doesn't work as well for holes in socks unless it happens to be on the side of a sock. Because you don't want to be stepping on that all the time. It'll have ridges. It's not very comfortable. The most comfortable of your repairs for a sock is always going to be duplicate stitch, because it will feel much more like the regular fabric that you're used to stepping on, versus the woven patch, which is going to feel different. So if you have somebody with sensory issues, duplicate stitch is always going to be your best bet, but you have to catch it before you have a hole. Once you have a hole, the only way to fix it is with a woven or a sewn patch. So hopefully that helps, and I will see you tomorrow.